to welcome guests. And here we will to celebrate the success of our children in their various endeavors.
Commissioner Weston, ladies and gentlemen, you'll have to excuse me, I'm actually not feeling too well at all. But it gives me much pleasure again to be here at Natabua this evening. I feel like I'm a regular visitor here because we also use this hall, of course, for the very numerous public consultations we've been having for the past couple of years in respect of the budget and various other activities. I'm delighted to be here this evening to celebrate your awards night. And of course, as you know, that the awards night is very significant, in particular for those of you who actually will be receiving awards. And those of you who receive awards also will be a source of inspiration to those of others who have not, and for them to be able to aspire to what you have achieved. This morning I was privileged to welcome back our Honorable Prime Minister, who just came back from New York. As you know, the Honorable Prime Minister has been very much at the forefront in respect of the COP23 presidency. Fiji has been given the honor and the privilege to become the president of COP23. COP23, or the Conference of Parties regarding climate change, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very prestigious event. And for a small island state like Fiji to be given the presidency is indeed an enormous opportunity and enormous honor. The Honorable Prime Minister, of course, was going to be here tonight. Unfortunately, he's not been able to attend tonight. But he passes the best of his congratulations to those of you who will receive the awards, and of course to all the parents and the friends and the relatives who make it possible for the students to be able to achieve what they have achieved. Ladies and gentlemen, I was very delighted with your cadets who had the COP23 configuration or the formation. Climate change, ladies and gentlemen, I have to speak about this. As you know, our Prime Minister has a very arduous and a very demanding schedule in respect of going to overseas events, in respect of creating the awareness about climate change. And I think a lot of the times people tend not to understand what climate change is all about. Climate change, ladies and gentlemen, is about things like Cyclone Winston. Climate change is about when we get droughts in the Western Division. Climate change is when we lose villages to encroaching waters, where people can no longer live in villages where they have lived for hundreds of years. Climate change is about where people who've been farmers and have been planting sugarcane in a plot of land which they no longer can plant sugarcane in because the salt water has crept in and has caused salt in the soil, so it can no longer grow any vegetation, let alone sugarcane. This is what climate change is about. It's also about creating an awareness about our environment. Many of you would hear from your parents and your grandparents as to what they used to do before. The succession of environmental pass on, if you call it that, is about ensuring that we protect the environment today. Today we churn out more garbage than ever before. Today the things that we use in our everyday lives is not disposable. Before, you did not have plastic bags. You did not have many of the consumer goods that you have now, the packages that they do come in, they actually cannot be biodegradable. So we have to be mindful. The next time you throw a packet of twisties out after you finished eating it, you must remember it may actually kill some fish life. If you get stuck in the mangrove, a small crab or 3 or 4 crabs may actually die. This is what it's all about. And the young people are the ones who we're actually doing this for. Because your grandparents and parents have actually enjoyed the environment. If we don't look after the environment, you won't actually inherit the environment. So it is equally important. Today in Fiji, 69.4% of the entire Fijian population is below the age of 40. So those of you who are below the age of 40, nearly all of you over here, except all these old people here, including myself, we are in the minority. The people below the age of 40 are the majority. So it is very important that the young people of Fiji also understand what climate change is all about. I'd like to re-echo the sentiments of your principal that the numerous opportunities that the young people, young Fijians have today weren't actually enjoyed by your parents or your grandparents. The ability to achieve or attend school without paying fees, the ability to access textbooks, to get concessional bus fares, to be able to go to university if you want to go to university as long as you get admission. None of this were actually obtainable before for other people. It was only those who were privileged. Privileged to maybe get a scholarship, or privileged because they came from families who had money. These are the many opportunities that's available to you. Please take advantage of it. Please make use of it. Because we obviously need to ensure that you very soon, those of you who are in high school, you may think being a political leader or being a leader in your school or being a leader in the business community is far away. No, it's not. You very soon will become principals, teachers, maybe a member of parliament, maybe a minister, maybe a corporate person. You'll soon be there. You'll soon become parents. Hopefully not too soon. But the point is, ladies and gentlemen, because in Fiji the demographic shift is such, we have to be mindful and have to empower our young people. And this is precisely what we're doing. Tonight's awards night, of course, is a recognition of those of you who have excelled. And we'd like you to excel. There's numerous opportunities available for you. I'd also like to make a point, as some people have talked about it. I was here yesterday in Lautoka talking to a number of civil servants with the civil service reforms. Part of that, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is to ensure that we retain and attract good people within the system. Many of you who will be soon going to university, I'd like to advise you to please choose a career that you want to actually pursue yourself. Don't choose a career that just because somebody else tells you to do. You must choose a career that you feel passionate about. If you want to become a student counselor, please become a student counselor. Don't become an accountant or economist or a lawyer just because somebody else tells you to do so. You should do it because you want to do it. Because the only way that we will ever progress as a country is that people who actually occupy positions actually want to do that. And they have a passion for it. Because if you want to become a teacher, you will become a very good teacher because that's where your passion lies. You can see the passion in your head teacher, your principal. You can see the ideas that he's pursuing. He's doing it because obviously he's passionate about his job. And that's what we want. No country has ever excelled without people doing the right jobs and the best people doing the jobs. Our economy has now grown 8 years in a row. Unprecedented. It's never happened in Fiji's history. We're set to grow for at least another 3 more years, and probably soon after that too. So there's enormous opportunities. Unemployment today has been the lowest it's been in the past 15 years, 5.5%. However, youth unemployment is higher than that. This is why retirement age of civil servants at 55 is critical. So we give our young people opportunities, because our youth need also jobs. And the reason why we're also doing that is because we're giving you access to university education so you can get that skill sets, that qualification very quickly and get into the system. The civil service reforms, ladies and gentlemen, at the moment we've been going around doing the roadshows, and very quickly I want to tell the students and also the parents, is that it's about ensuring that people who work in the civil service are paid comparable salaries to those in the private sector. We have teachers who actually have very high levels of risk. A principal in this school who's got over 1,000 students, he or she should be rewarded a lot more than what they had been getting, and they have been rewarded. Principals now will get paid over $60,000. The salary increments for civil servants for some professions have increased by 70%. Some nurses are getting a pay rise of 70%. Teachers or principals and head teachers are getting pay rise up to about 40% or even higher than that, some of them. Land surveyors are getting pay rise up to about 37%. Unprecedented. It's never happened in Fiji, but it's very critical to do that. And the reason why we are doing that is once we get the base right, after that every year or biannually, people will be assessed on a regular basis so they can continue to get salary increments, so they feel satisfied with their jobs. So there are many other changes that are being brought about. Some of the issues, of course, your principal has brought about is more has less to do with reforms, more to do with administrative issues. This is why it's very important that the capacity within the Ministry of Education is also enhanced. The people who look after the teachers need to be the right people who look after the teachers. They need to understand the challenges a principal faces when he comes to school. It was very interesting when we had the discussions on the civil service reforms and the salaries. A lot of primary school teachers said to us, we should be paid more than the high school students because it's very difficult to look after primary students. They're all young, they're less disciplined, we have to teach them the ropes. Whereas the head teachers were saying, of high schools were saying, or principals were saying of high schools, well, actually we have to deal with things like teenage pregnancy. We have to deal with things like teenagers running away from school, like the principal is saying your boarding school is a very dangerous place. You have to deal with people who may want to dabble with drugs. So you see, everybody thinks their profession is important. Everybody thinks that their challenges that they face is more important than others. But we need to be able to come together as a nation and to be able to understand how we all fit into the puzzle. We all have a role to play. If everybody plays their role well, and we as government, as a choice employer, are able to provide that environment for them, the system will work. Because ultimately, every Fijian wants a good life. Every Fijian wants to be able to have a decent life. Every Fijian wants to ensure that when you're, as a parent, when your children will apply for a job in the civil service or anywhere else, they will not get chosen because of their ethnicity or their religion or who they know, but they will get selected because they are selected on merit. They are selected because they have the capacity and the capability to do the job. That is very critical. This is how countries like Singapore, which is much smaller than us, they are about slightly bigger than Taveuni, have excelled so exceedingly well. Because they have given prominence to excellence. They've given prominence to ensuring that they do the best for the country. So ladies and gentlemen, without making too long of a speech, I'd like to thank you once again, and I'd like to also tell you that we are at a very critical juncture in our history. The fact that we have achieved 8 years of growth means that we have the potential to do a lot better. Let's not lose the momentum. We cannot lose the momentum. And the only way we won't lose the momentum is we have a consistency in policies and that we are all focused in doing the best we can as a country and working together with each other. If we all do the right thing, we'll all be united, we'll be firmer, and we'll obviously be able to achieve a lot more than what we have achieved today. Congratulations once again to the recipients of the awards. Congratulations also to the parents of the recipients and also the families and the well-wishers. I'd like to also publicly acknowledge your principal, whose passion for his school and passion for what he does, I greatly admire. And you can see that. So let's put our hands together for him. We need to have more such passionate people and people who are also compassionate. It's one thing to be passionate, but we also need a lot of compassion in Fiji and the roles that we do play. I wish you all a very good evening. Thank you very much.
Pleasure to announce that she received 373 out of 400 marks. She received subject award for English also. Ladies and gentlemen, these are currently the top students of Natabua High School, and we have high expectations from them this year.